So the number one thing that every ADA holder wants to know is, are we going to set a new all-time high, and when will that be? And we actually have a very good idea of when this is going to take place. I'm Luckside. Welcome to the channel. If you guys are new or haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, hit that bell. Again, it's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. And I want to dive deep into when this is probably going to take place. Now, what I will say is this, is during these times, it's very difficult for people to visualize an all-time high, right? ADA price has been down, hasn't been making a ton of movement, and that's okay. Nothing really has right now. And we're kind of waiting for that next leg in terms of crypto. And actually, Dan Gambardella, who has Crypto Capital Venture, I'm sure you guys are familiar with him, he actually outlined these 5 stages to an all-time high in terms of ADA, what this Cardano bull cycle looks like. And we've dealt with some of these early stages like Cardano down, it's fun while it lasted, followed by tech does nothing, it's just a bull trap, right? And that's kind of where we've been at. And now we're getting into times where it's, told you should have listened. Here we go again, another bull trap. And then the final step being all-time highs shattered, right? The psychology that comes with a market cycle is very important, and people need to understand where we're at. And we're in this stage of disbelief right now. It's this feeling that, frankly, we're kind of in a bull or a bear trap right now, and people are thinking that this is a sucker's rally. We're not going to gain any further ground, and that's kind of what price has been doing. Actually, I'll show you guys here. Right, price has been consolidating. We haven't been making much headway, but I want to remind people this is exactly what happens time and time again. Right, you guys can see what this normally plays out into. Kind of ironic how similar this is. But then this is what follows. The cycle starts back all over again. You fall down into the deep depths of disbelief, and then we start to run. Times start to take off. And historically speaking, again, I've mentioned this many times, and I want to keep hitting this home, sometime between end of September, middle of October is, historically speaking, I think basically every cycle where we've started gaining some ground. And really, November is when things really start to get wild for altcoins. That's when ADA should see some significant moves to the upside. Right now, obviously, this isn't a guarantee or financial advice or anything like that. And what I want to point out is, historically speaking, when we look at alts, the times that they are pushing their all-time highs usually tends to be the last month of the year of the halving or the first month of the year following the halving. So typically, December, January is when, excuse me, historically speaking, ADA should be trying to set a new all-time high. Now, these runs that we experience, this next leg, wave 3, should run until about March. And then typically sometime between March and May is when things cool down just a little bit. We dip it back into the summer, right? And then we start our rebound late in the fall to our cycle highs, right? That's typically when the market is going to peak. Now, obviously, nobody knows if this cycle is going to be the same as the one before, the one before, the one before, right? But they've been very similar time and time and time again. They tend to mimic each other time and time and time again. So I find it hard to believe that we're going to do anything out of structure right now. Now, maybe it takes a little bit longer. Maybe it takes a little bit sooner. There's a couple wild cards here, right? If we dip into a recession, if maybe the wrong candidate gets elected, right? But then on the flip side, maybe we hit mass adoption. Maybe there's this overall embrace of Cardano tech, right? That's where things can get a little wild. That's why sometimes things happen sooner, sometimes things happen later. But the biggest thing I can preach is that we just have to be patient and let things play out. The reason that we see these market cycles stay consistent is because when people try to push and do things that are outside of structure, they tend to get punished. We tend to return back to the norm. All right. They tend to stay the same time and time and time and time and time and time again. And maybe once we get deeper into mass adoption, maybe once we see more embrace from governments, maybe once we see more regulatory clarity, things like that, things tend to open up and change the cycles again. But the time frame that you need to be aware of is December and January. That's what you really need to know. So I appreciate you guys as always. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. I know that there are people who don't think that ADA is going to hit an all-time high period. They think it's really going to struggle because of competition in the space, because, we haven't gotten big adoption of the blockchain yet. And frankly, I've talked about this in other videos. I think that's a bunch of nonsense. And really, by that time frame, we should have a really good idea of what ADA is going to be trying to do in this market cycle period. But have a great day. Show your love below. Let me know your thoughts. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.